Remember when they presented them with the album cover and had the white family on the beach?
That's Motown used to do that.
Yeah.
Motown
that's crazy.
They never put pictures of their artists on, because it was like, oh, if we put black faces on it, we'll only get black people to buy it.
Yeah. Had an idea. I actually saw an interview with 𝐀𝐻𝐿. 𝐀𝐻𝐿's been mad. Like, he's really been mad about rap.
No, I'm mad. I'm tell you why I'm mad.
Yeah, he said basically 𝐀𝐻𝐿 was like, he's sick of hip hop and artists lack emotional investment. But I took something else from the interview because we've heard OG rappers say this. This has been a trend at this point. But there's one line in here where he says, he's talking about hip hop's influence. He says, you see country music having elements of hip hop. You see pop music. He said, when's the last time you saw a rock band that didn't have a hip hop element in it? So he's talking about the influence of hip hop and other musical cultures. So that got me to thinking, historically, we always talk about hip hop influencing other cultures. Mm-hmm. But if we flip it, what has hip hop borrowed from other cultures?
Everything.
Yeah, let's see. Jazz.
Because we never
house
really,
music.
We don't talk about that part. We never talk. We always talk about how people quote unquote culture vulture the hip hop and how hip hop pops up and everything. But I don't know if we ever run through what we've borrowed. When I say we're part of the hip hop.
The thing about it is, a lot of the genres that were borrowed for hip hop were still started by the same culture. So
I see where you're going.
At the end of the day, it's almost like a melting pot. But I mean, given certain subgenres of things have been kind of used and interpolated in hip hop, but as a whole,
it's a lot.
It's a lot.
Jay Moore, you jumped out the window like it's just everywhere.
I mean, look, when we talk about break beats, we can go back to the beginning. They were taken from jazz records, from rock records, from R&B, from disco records, and so those are the other genres of music are the building blocks of hip hop.
Funk.
Yeah.
Yep.
And, okay, now hip hop is established and it's not just some subgenre that we can't look away from. Now everybody's kids, even if they wind up liking country, even if they wind up liking, straight up pop music or even Latin, like, when you hear Bad Bunny, that's hip hop.
Yeah.
I hear elements of Taylor Swift. Like, she worked with Soundwave on her last record. Mm-hmm. That's hip hop. When you're listening to country music, once that Nelly and did that joint with, was it Tim McGraw or whoever? Like, there are other people who said, wow, let's try to build on this sound without even bringing any rappers in. Like, now there is an element, the way the drums are programmed, the way it's written.
The melodies.
Sometimes there's a rap in the country song.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I'm pretty sure there's establishment country that doesn't like it. But, even if you're a kid from Nashville, you grew up with G Unit and everything. Like, you grew
down
up,
the street,
you grew up with. Now there's not this thing where there's this generational situation to where the people who influence genres are just afraid of hip hop, or they're like, no, that's what those black kids from the ghetto are doing over there. It's like, no, this is what everybody's doing. And it influences the music that we, now we might take a little bit, might take a little bit of the, the Southwest, like the Texas culture. And I'm not talking about just the South and the North and Houston, but the actual Hispanic culture and creating, hip hop records. And like, what do we take? It's not really about taking at this point. It's about exchanging. We're moving back and forth between genres. And a lot of people don't get it because they came from a time when everything was very, very much segmented. But now I just think that you can't act like you don't see this over here. Even in hip hop, we can't act like we don't see the numbers some of these country music folks are doing, and they look at
country
this.
Music has been doing numbers.
Yeah, watch the country music. They show up with the big trucks and the shiny clothes and the jewelry. Is honestly, it's a lot closer than a lot of people even want to admit.
Let me ask it this way. Is that the same thing as sampling per se, or
that's what I was actually going to talk about.
Interpolations from jazz or long said funk? That's not necessarily the same thing. Am I wrong when I say that?
Well, the thing about it is at this point, it's American culture. At the end of the day, it's been around. We're celebrating year 50. We've talked about this many times too. It's the number one genre out there, so you can't hide from it. You can't just say that you're not influenced by it. So everybody's music is probably going to have something intertwined in there that's a little hip hop. I mean, I seen a thread of about 5 black artists that are country singers now, and their whole style is hip hop infused country music for the most part. You know what I'm saying? along with the other artists that are doing it too. But it's kind of like, well, since y'all are doing that, we're gonna come, get our little piece off of it too, because I mean, we like country music. We're from the country and we represent it, and we can still represent the hip hop part of it too by putting out our own stuff. So, I mean, you really can't be mad at hip hop being a part of a lot of things. Now, as far as it being commercialized, that's a different story. If we're talking about that, then I see what he's saying, but you can't really be mad that hip hop has influenced all these genres like that.
Anything you got anything on that long?
I have nothing really to add. I don't really
think we covered it.
I don't really know what to say.
Jay, more anything else on what I said in terms of comparing the two?
No? I mean, I get what you're saying. I do, but I just think
I see a difference. I see a difference in that.
The way culture is sampled now, it may not just be through a drum machine.
Right.
It's from a certain cadence and way things are said.
Yeah.
You like I said, you hear hip hop in gospel music. What do you think all that Kirk Franklin is? They've been doing that.
True. Fam was doing y'all back in like 90. What was it? Late 90s.
I don't,
It's all a big.
I don't want anybody
pot.
to get concerned about this. Like all of a sudden, well, what are they doing with this? I was like,
Lone makes a good point though with the melting pot.
Mad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it's all at this point. It's. I think the thing that I've been trying to wrap my head around, is there any type of basis of cultural appropriation within this? Because I feel like that's like the underlining conversation we're having, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, we've all basically alluded to how you can't hide from hip hop at this point. It's everywhere, and the influence is just like this is what I'm taking from our conversation is undeniable. The influence is just going to pop up by default at this point.
So is if hip hop becomes the most number one genre, which it is, and then country music is all of a sudden maybe, I don't know, not the number one genre, but then hip hop artists start to steal country to make it, I don't know, get some of that freshness in the same way that people used to steal from black culture and hip hop is. I don't know. Is it?
I think that would be
but not to say that like country music is white culture and that, you know what I mean? Like, I think that's the distinct difference there, is that hip hop was very much so black culture.
Right.
Country music isn't.
This is a fact.
You know what I mean? And just like rock and roll was not derived from just white people.
No.
Right.
It was
specifically derived from black people.
Exactly. So that's where this conversation, that's why I'm sitting over here just thinking, like, I don't even know how to even, I don't know.
This is where I would, because they talk about, there's a 40% dip in hip hop as a genre as far as like its commercial viability. But I was like, well, okay, but what other places are you not counting? Because there's this hip hop country over here. Are you not counting that? Are you not counting influence hip hop has on a group like BTS? Are you not counting that because that's supposedly K-pop or just pop music? Are you discounting the influence it even has on Taylor Swift? Like
Jelly Roll started out with 3 6 Mafia.
Yeah. So,
Word?
Yes. You didn't know that?
No,
Jelly Roll stayed in the city on somebody's tour, performing at places like the Emerson and stuff like that, and is now one of the biggest country stars.
Because Jelly Roll is
that's a heavy set guy with the tats, right?
Yes. He's been around for a long time.
See, I'm asleep. I saw a clip.
39.
Yeah, I saw the clip on Instagram with him saying,
or 38
this is the story of, and a redemption story, him being 39 and just getting nods and winning awards. I was asleep. Y'all put me on game. I was asleep on that.
Now, here's what I will say with all this being said. I still do think that it's possible for popular mainstream artists in general to see what different genres are, maybe specifically, or different cultural sects are, let's say, popping right now, and to dip within there and to exploit those. And I don't think that is necessarily, I don't think that's genre specific necessarily. But would you view that in a similar way as far as exploitation is concerned?
So just the idea of any creatives or artists dabbling into other successful.
Let's say Kanye West is super popular as a hip hop artist. Then he sees that, oh man, these guys are really popping over here doing this disco infused, I don't know, Punjabi music over here. And then that's what he starts doing. And then he becomes popular because
becomes more popular because off of that.
He dives into a different subsect, right? You know what I mean? Like, I think there might be a conversation there to some degree.
So my idea behind it is, if somebody's doing this country music, then they have had to have had some kind of early influence in their life versus just, I think I'm gonna just jump out the window and start doing country music because it's popular.
Right.
Hip hop, like people do the same thing with hip hop. They'll start out in one genre and hop over in the hip hop bus and then go back to where they was at. Trying to bring it back full circle. But now I think if you just do something based off it being what's popping right now, then that's
what that
culture
is.
vulture vibes to me.
No, I just, because I don't want anyone to all of a sudden jump off. They take a little of this element of hip hop and they act like they created it. That's the only part that would get me to where if, they do this and then they're like, oh no, I've never heard that music. You know what I'm saying? Like they act like they created something new, which has happened so many times in the past.
Right.
Yeah, we've seen that a lot.
I mean, just like just the whole concept of like, oh, someone's doing a cover. Like literally it's to cover up, because that's what they used to do with, like the Pat Boone situation.
Well, Tracy Chapman just won a CMA.
Yeah, because she won for Songwriter of the Year.
Songwriter of the Year based off a country music cover.
Yeah.
That's dope.
Yeah.
That's dope. That's dope.
But the original idea of covering something was to basically, okay, we got Pat Boone to do this and he's going to cover the Little Richard version, so we don't have to worry. So our, the white kids who are going to buy records don't have to worry about buying it from him. We'll get it from Pat Boone. So man, it's hard because like when you know the history of things and like why they call things a certain thing, now everyone understands, oh, it's not a problem. They did a cover of my record. But it used to be to literally erase the original artist.
You just made me think about Dreamgirls.
Yeah.
When they were all sitting on the couch, Jennifer Hudson, Beyonce, I cannot name the other young lady's name, but they were sitting on the couch and their record pops up and somebody else is singing it.
Yeah.
Doing a cover.
Yeah.
Right? That's
Anika Noni Rose. That was it.
Yes, that's her name. Yes.
But, I mean, they probably got a piece of from there, but like when even in the 5 Heartbeats, they had the guys the 5 Horsemen come in and re-sing their song.
That was corny too when they did the remake.
I mean, but that's basically what happened.
You remember when they presented them with the album cover and had the white family on the beach.
That's Motown used to do that.
Yeah.
Motown
that's crazy.
They never put pictures of their artists on, because it was like, oh, if we put black faces on it, we'll only get black people to buy it.
Yeah.
But you see the video where they seen how do fools fall in love?
Oh,
dude?
Frankie Lyman.
Frankie Lyman. You see the video where he came out and performed, and they didn't know it was a black guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody was looking at him all crazy.
When they pan into the crowd, everybody is just shocked. Nobody's moving.
Yeah, nobody wants to be caught, clapping and enjoying.
Yeah.
And everybody in the audience loved that record prior to seeing him come out.
Yep.
Man,
it was a wild time back then.
Yeah.
Seems normal. For the time.
Yeah.
Definitely for the time.
That's what they be talking about when they say "Make America Great Again."
Yeah, they want to go back.
Let me enjoy.
Try to go back to that.
Let me enjoy these black artists that I don't know.
Yeah.
Making this mysterious music.
Yeah.
These race records.
Race records. Man, that's game, Jay Moore, with the cover. Your third eye was open on the cover.
I mean, like that's the thing when you really start looking into why we say the things we do.
Sound real woke
when you realize there is a racial connotation to so many things that are just threaded into American.
Like everything.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to escape. So
they hate when you say it's the American way, when it's literally what built this country.
That's tough.
Yeah.
Yeah.